Hello everyone. Today I would like to talk about structures in Swift. So what is the need for structure in Swift? It is used to create custom data type. It helps us to create custom data type. Now what is the custom data type? Let me create a structure. You write struct keyword. Let me say the structure is a person. So I'm creating a person structure. Now for inside a structure, it is a blueprint for you to create objects. Okay, and each and every structure have properties, and if you have a function inside the structure, they are known as methods. So that's up to you if you provide properties and also a method. You can do that. Let's say a person have three different properties. The first one is name, and I'm defining it as a constant with a let keyword. Let's say the name cannot change. And then we have age. It can change in the future, so let's make it var, and that's it. Okay, name and age. Now for me to create a person, let me create a person object that is constant object. Okay, let me create a constant object at first. Using let keyword, I write person, and whenever you write person, if you look closely, it will provide you a default initializer. Just by providing the properties, it will provide a default initializer, which means you can pass these values for these properties from outside. You can say the name is Vivek and age is 23. I can do that. Now let me create a function inside of it, which is basically known as method print information or info. Okay, it will print the name is name, and age is also age. Now if I call person dot print information, for me to access the method or properties, I use the dot syntax. What I can also do is print person dot, if you look closely, it says age, name, and this print information. So if I just do object, this is an object dot, then I'm able to access the properties age, name, and also the method that is being defined. So I can also do age print person dot name and print info, everything, and it works fine. It prints the age and the name and also the information. Okay, we're allowed to do this. Now what if I want to change this age property? Okay, the thing is, right now the initializer is helping us to provide the value for these two variables, because variable and constant. So whenever you declare something, you always have to provide it a value. That's why we're providing a value through initializer. Now there can also be a property where each and every person you create is from Pokhara. I can do that. Address string, and if I don't want to pass the value from outside as the initializer while you create the object, you can provide a default value like this. So each and every person that you create is from Pokhara. Now it won't complain. If you just print person dot address, then by default it will be Pokhara. Okay, we can also provide default value, and then if you look closely, right now I don't even have to provide the address in the initializer, because it has already been assigned over here, like a value is constant over here, Pokhara. default value. Now let me try to change this age property. Okay, let's do person dot age. Since it is a variable, it can change. Okay, now I'm trying to change it. Right here I'm passing 23. Now I pass 25, or let's say 28, and print person dot age. If I run it, it throws an error. It says cannot assign to property, person is a late constant. So this is a different, this is important thing about structure, that if you want to change a variable property for a structure, the object that you create must also be a variable type. Okay, let me write it down. If you want to change the variable type property inside a structure, then the object that you create must also be a variable. Now this is only possible if I make this object variable. If I make it variable, and now this object is variable, and this property age is also variable, now only I can change the value. I can do that. But for late constant, I know that I cannot reassign the value, so I cannot change it, because late constant is immutable type. Okay, now this is all about changing variable. Okay, now what if I want to change this add age inside this structure definition? What do I mean by that? Let me remove this thing, this both. Let me have a method called function change age. Okay, inside here we have function named change age. Then I assign as a new value. From here I'm passing 23, but I want to change the value to be 54. Let's say the change age method will help me to change the age to 54. Now if I do person dot change age and print person dot age, if you look closely, it says cannot assign to property, self is immutable. So structure by default is immutable. That means whatever the property that you create inside the structure, whether it is mutable property or immutable property, well, the only property that we can change is mutable. So if it is mutable property, and if you want to change the property inside the immutable type structure, like structures are by default immutable, then it will throw an error. So we cannot do this. Even though this is of a mutable type property, we are not able to change it because structure is by default immutable. Okay, now for me to be able to do that, I have to write this is a mutating function. So if I write this is a mutating function and you are allowed to change it from outside, then only it will allow us to do that. It won't complain. If I run it, it works fine. I'm changing it right here to 54. I can do that. So that's all you have to know about structures. And one more thing, for example, let's say I have a new person2 type. Okay, let's say this is also okay, where it's all right. This is late. Okay, this is a constant object. Now what I can do is this person, if I assign this to a new variable, then what it does is copy. It creates a copy. Okay, this will help us to distinguish between structures and class in further videos. But right now you need to know that if you assign on an object to a different variable, so this will also be an object, but it will copy the properties of this object. Okay, now if I do print, now let me do, okay, this is also a variable type. Okay, now what I want to do is at first print person dot print information, and right here I can say person2 dot age. I'm changing the age to 89, and printing I can also say person2 dot print information. So I'm doing this. If I run this, if you see here, the first one has age property 23, so it says bbake and 23. Now I assign this person to this person2 object, okay, and I'm changing it. Since it is a var type and age is also of var type, I'm able to change it. I change it here. I change the age to 89 on line number 23. Now after changing the property 89, I print it. Now only this thing will change. The first property won't change, because what is happening here is, okay, this is rough. So I have a person type, okay. If you, so person, you have created a person, then in the stack, in the heap, sorry, this is a heap, the person object is created, okay. Person is created with name Vivek, or let me just talk about the age property. Age 23. This is being created, and this person object is pointing to this person is pointing. So this is a label. This is pointing to that object. Okay. Now if you assign this person to another person too, what it is doing is copying it. So it will create a copy over here. Person is again 23 only. Now it is creating a new like copy of this object, and person 2 is pointing to that object, okay. That is what happening. So if you change the age property, right here in this line, you change the age property to 89, that means you change this to 89, but it won't be reflected right here because this is a different copy and this is a different copy. So that's what is happening. So you must know this difference, because this will help us to learn classes more easily. And that's all you have to know about structures in Swift. Thank you for listening.